Did you take time today to celebrate your wins? If you don't, who will be there to recognize what you do and what you achieve? You are the better person to do so. So tonight, we are celebrating my milestone challenge. So today, we are on day 32 of 32 days of video recording and posting. This is my own challenge. I want to see if I can document my reflection on how I can make my journey interesting, but also discussing how I can improve my skills so I can reach another level of contribution uh, for the world. So, if you think of my channel, so welcome to my channel, by the way. I started in earlier this year saying, okay, I want to make a commitment so that I lead an intentional, it's an interesting word, an intentional life. There you go. And the reason that I wanted to do that is I have a good friend of mine. His name is Peter Ong, and he talked about the fact that Evan Carmichael often discussed the idea of life and are we living an intentional life or an accidental life? This is a good question. If we don't live life intentionally, then we are living at the what we are living in a way that others dictate us to do. That's not the best. No. Keep in mind that some of you love for people to tell you what to do and when. It makes life easier and simpler. On the other hand, many of you, like me, sometimes they like to create your own challenges so that you can become better. So I'm going to share with you some of the wins in the last month or so that you can see that if I can do that, you can certainly do this as well. So I'm going to show let's see, we're going to do this one here. So I did go on the channel just to see some of the videos I've done in the last, let's see, that was this one right here. So on about 4 weeks ago, I decided it was time to intentionally create content consistently. This was part of Movement Maker. We've been talking about how consistency helps on building a brand, building your authority in what you do. We also had it was in this, so 4 weeks ago, they talked about the challenge for the Movement Maker for this month was adventure. And I believe in adventure is when you have something you don't know what will happen. You have an idea of where you're going, but there's a lot of openness to chances, openness to new discoveries. And that's when I decided to create that milestone challenge for me. So here I have my thing here was, are you afraid of your dream? And one of my dream here, that was the video number one, was the fact that I want to grow a YouTube channel so that I can be there for my students, be there for my colleagues, be there for my friends and the movement makers that are part of Evan Carmichael's community. So in order to do that, I needed to think bigger than what I do daily. So that was my first video here. I call it Stone number one because the first about 12 or 17 videos, I have the word stone. So there are milestones. So every day is a milestone to get somewhere. But I figured it was a good way to think of a foundation of me building where I want to go. So I need to have a solid foundation to be able to move forward. So from there, it's the idea of you need to commit to your dream. And in order to do that, you need to be there for yourself and you need to think of fitness. Then when you start something, sometimes you start having doubt. So I was thinking about the importance of being determined to achieve your goal. And that's quite important because if you're not determined, then you might be at the mercy of your environment, at the mercy of others. So that was the purpose of this video right here. Then it was important for me to decide, okay, who am I as a person? And I want you to remember that this is the foundation for this challenge, and it's to define your identity, who you are as a person, and to know where you want to go. And here it was the idea that I'm a teacher, high school teacher, teaching science, French, and other subjects. And it's important to say, okay, this is what you can do. This is part of your skills. It is not who you are, but it is an important part of who you are. You are a teacher, and you also have a lot of different skills that you can help people with. For me, I'm a high school teacher, and I know that I can help many. Then the other one here for the one is that talking about sometimes we don't always succeed, we can fail in time. And if we fail, we need to see it as an opportunity to learn. Because if you see a failure as you becoming a failure, then it's quite different, because then sometimes you stop doing what you love to do, or you are going towards your goals. So the idea is, if there's some failures, you need to think about it, reflect, and then fail forward and try again. It builds resilience. Now, in order to be able to have a project, I was talking about the fact that you have to learn to say no. Because if you say yes to everything, to everybody, then you will not have the energy and the time to work on what you want to do, on building the skills you need. And here I have let's see, for this one, Stone 10 was aim for one step. Oh, yeah, I was getting tired on this one. And I was thinking about how sometimes if it gets hard, don't think of 7 steps ahead, just do one. Do the one little step that will get you closer to your goal. And this is, as you can see, this is my journey of how things are going. The next one here for schedule better. For this one here, it was, I think it was close to 10 o'clock at night. I needed to do my video for the day. And I said, okay, I need to schedule my recording and posting videos better, so that I do not it's not, the videos are not an accident. I have to do it intentionally. So I need to schedule it so I know exactly when I do it to make sure it gets done. The next one here was about managing expectations. The idea here is that sometimes we tend to have a lot of expectations, and sometimes we think of perfection before we can actually do something. And sometimes you have to think about the fact that, and Evan Carmichael mentions that sometimes, is that you have to think of the 85% rule. If you are sure at 85% that is correct, then you say, okay, this is what it's going to be, so that you can move forward. If you're waiting for 100% certainty, you might never start what you want to do, or never get forward or move forward the next step. It's something to keep in mind. This one here was status quo and beyond. Life is so easy, especially when you are in your comfortable zone. And if you are not changing anything, some people may feel at peace. And if they feel at peace, it's hard sometimes to create momentum. Some people, sometimes where they are is not the best place to be. And if that's the case, how about you find ways to say, okay, how about I change the status quo to make my life better and also get closer to my mission. Then here it's about fitness, keeping in mind that if you want to do more, your body is so important, because by being fit, you become fit physically, mentally, emotionally. And at the end of the day, that's what carries you sometimes when you don't have as much energy as you could. And here was the idea of adventure. If I remember well, that was my video for the month, about keeping in mind that if we forego the idea of adventures, then we do day in, day out the same thing over and over again. It's important to keep in mind that, okay, let's plan adventures to go out, go for hiking, go and meet new people, try a new restaurant, try to talk to a new person all of these things are important and it's part of adventures. I have here about making decisions. And this one here was the idea that, oh, yes, it was a scientific inquiry process. So I teach science at school. And sometimes if you have a question, you can use the scientific inquiry process to make decisions. And here is how. If you have a question, for example, should I, um, let's see would be a good one. Would it be a good idea to record my videos at 7 in the at night? Well, that's a good question. You could say, well, you can keep it as a question, or you could say, okay, let's have a hypothesis. If I do my videos at 7, then I have more energy because it will be earlier in the night and the videos will be more interesting. And so this is your hypothesis that you will test. So that means that you're going to have to time your time to make sure you're in front of a camera by 7. You need to make sure that you have all the materials ready, the procedure about what you're going to say ready for 7. Then you look at data. You do it for a week or two, and then you say, okay, if I record my videos at 7 p.m., are the results better? If yes, you know that you make the decisions to keep it at 7. And if it's not better, then you say, okay, my hypothesis of doing videos at 7 p.m. was not the best hypothesis. So let's see if I can change it. Because the question is always, in that case, what's the best time to record videos? So as a scientist, it's always good to think of a process. And that was a process I shared, and I think it works very well. So for this one here, it was about refocusing, keeping in mind that sometimes when we have a list of things to do, we do not always keep the focus on where we want to go or the long-term vision. So when I focus with this channel, I have a few priorities. One is my family, second is my employment, and third is this channel here. So that means that I do not go and see friends and eat at the pub on Thursdays, for example. I have to make choices to focus my energy and my attention to where I want to be. This one here was, so in November, I was able to meet with Evan Carmichael for a coaching session. And that's when we talked about how I can make my knowledge of being a science teacher into a business option. And the idea here was about looking at maybe making videos of science lessons. And that was here talking about how it's important to reflect on personal accomplishments to know that the skills you have can be useful for others. And you have to be proud of what you know, who you know, and where you want to go as well. Then, and here, so for the last week or so, we talked about creating more energy because sometimes we get tired. And therefore, for me, one of the solution is to go for a walk outside right at about 3 p.m. It's the end of the day. The sun is still up, and it's a way for me to re-energize myself. And it's important for you to do the same. And this one here was it was short. It was a snowy night. I had finished shoveling. And I don't, do I have a toque here? There you go. I shoveled for a few hours and then I said, okay, let's do the video. And it was important to think about the fact that when you know that there are peaceful moments in your life, it's important to appreciate it. Because if you don't appreciate, for example, the peaceful moments, if you don't appreciate the good people around you, tonight we are celebrating a milestone for 37 videos and 31 videos in 31 days. If you don't appreciate the moments, what happened is you don't appreciate as much as you could, and therefore, how will you learn to move forward? Because then you end up being just busy, and we just don't want to be busy. We want to be able to be acting with purpose. Big difference. And here we're talking about the idea here, limiting stories. So this one, limiting stories. Oh yes, that one was an interesting one. It was there was a conference with Tony Robbins, and they were talking about the fact that wherever I am right now is my fault. The situation I am right now, the fitness I have right now, the money I have right now, the peacefulness I have right now, it's all my fault. It's all the result of choices I've made in the past. And those choices made me who I am. But you have to see if those choices are were the best choices at some point. But is it possible that at some point you have to decide, okay, those choices, is it time to change them? Because some choices sometimes become beliefs, and if they become beliefs, they become sometimes limiting beliefs, regardless if it is about people that you would like to meet and you say, oh no, I don't think I'm deserving to meet this person, or I don't deserve to earn that much money. I don't deserve to go for a trip somewhere every year. So there's a few things here to keep in mind. So here it's important to first of all being aware that limiting beliefs are, reflect on finding what they are, and see if you can work through them. And then again here, getting closer to your dream, which is still part of what I want to do. And if you notice here, the series went from the stone word to iron. And here the idea is that the videos about the stone milestones were about the foundation. And here for the iron milestone was about the fact that I'm building on the foundation so I get closer to my goals. I'm not sure what would be the next category. I'm in the iron stage right now until I'm at the point where I say, okay, I have the strength to know who I am, and let's see what the next level is. So yesterday's video was about the idea that some people are very talented and they seem to be flying over all the obstacles. And there are some others that obstacles are there and it's hard for them and they need to work at it until they get better. And the whole idea is the fact that there are two groups of people. And if they work in teams, that makes amazing results. You've got people that are talented, that they have sometimes a vision and it's easy for them. There's some people that need to work harder, but together, people that with talents help people that are working hard. People that are working hard help people with talents to get even better so that they can achieve even bigger goals. For the same reason, there are some basketball players that have been practicing daily because they want to get better, even though they're part of the best. So on this is basically my journey, and you're part of celebrating what this journey has been so far. Where will it lead to? That's a good question. My goal is for me to get to a point where I can get to have an online business. I'm not quite ready yet. I have a lot of limiting beliefs. I know that the goal is there and I'm building the skills so that I get to a point where, okay, I can earn my first dollar. We'll see how it goes. And that's why we're doing this journey together. So if you have a chance to put in the comment below the one of your dreams you'd like to, no, I want you to tell me one of your wins of today. That's important. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, don't forget to do so. It's always amazing to have the community grow. And on this, I'm going to put here a link to the whole playlist of the videos so that you can see how the journey has gone so far. On this, I'll see you at the playlist.